What up, Ed?
What's up, Zia?
What's
What's up,
going on?
Aisha?
What's up?
We're joined by Zia's lovely wife, Aisha. So, Zia, what we got on deck? What are we going to review tonight?
Michael Blackson saying that African women are more submissive than American women.
Okay. I don't know if it's true, but we'll find out. Let's go.
You're from Ghana and you've been living in America for over 20 years. Which one is better, American woman or African woman?
Uh, they all have their problems and their pluses and their minuses. You know,
He's being diplomatic right now.
I was raised in America, so I got used to American women and I've learned how to deal with everything that comes with an American woman, compared to African women who are more submissive and more on the humble side, but it also expects to be taken care of. Women in Africa expects to be taken care of. Where in America, you have a woman that got her own job and got her own thing, and
But wait. That's also generalizing because I feel like, well, first off, Zia, you positive you want to do this video?
Yeah, definitely. Because I've been married twice, one to an American woman and one to an African woman. So
That makes
I'm an
perfect sense.
expert.
Aisha, he's an expert.
Well, not really, but actually, what is good is he can give his point of view. But honestly, the difference between American woman and African woman,
Is
I mean, the mentality is very different.
okay, explain it.
Like, even it's not even African, but even me as a French, African French, like the dating situation with a man. And in France, we don't have that. And for like the way I was raised with my family, also with my mom, is like the man is the man. He's the man of that. He's the chief of
Yeah.
the even if the woman is still here and she has her place. I think you see my mom. She's
Yeah, the
here.
women are really the boss.
Yeah.
The men know that. But for me, the woman,
It's the respect.
it's respects, yes, the sanctity of the man. Like, it's not even about taking decisions. It's hard to explain. It's just like they understand more the gender roles in a relationship.
And we have this thing in Africa. You have to I don't know the word in English, to honor
Honor, yeah,
honor your husband no
Yeah.
matter what. You
exactly.
No
have
matter
to,
what.
yeah, you have to honor your husband.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, like, obviously I only have one experience to speak of, but that experience, in my opinion, is probably relatable in the sense that the American woman who was her energy is very masculine, and it's like you
Yeah.
can't be the man and the woman in the relationship.
Right. So, what do you think the difference is based off of?
For me, I think that the American women think they're taught that you can be independent, you don't need a man, you go out and make your money, you don't need any man to be happy. You're the I don't know, you independence kind of thing. And then taking that into a relationship makes the relationship difficult, I think. What?
I, I agree and not agree because my father, for example, always taught me, Aisha, your first husband is your work. You have to work hard. You don't need a man to get you something.
Mhm.
Be your own person, and after, the man is a supplement. It's not a man who's gonna make you more happy. No, you
Right.
have to first be happy, be your own person, and after a man can, you know. And in fact, the difference with French and US is because me, the first generation are my parents, as are from Africa, and usually in US, American people, they don't know. Like the African side is way back.
Well, Lonnie's father is
Yes,
African.
but like today we have a daughter.
Yeah.
Me, I'm French, but my daughter will be
Second generation.
And won't
Yeah.
have the same
Values.
value
Of course
as
not,
me.
yeah.
Right.
Tu vois,
So-
me,
So can I ask a question?
yes,
Aisha, do you think that the way that your father taught you when you were younger tempered your expectations of what a man can and cannot provide to your life as far as happiness, resources, security, whatnot?
meaning wait, just to
So do you think that you growing up in an African family gave you more realistic expectations of what to what is reasonable to expect from a man?
yeah, totally,
Right. Okay.
totally.
So that might be the part of the difference, is that women over here have inflated expectations of what a
Yes,
man should be and can provide for them.
yes. And
While
also-
while at the same time feeling as if, you know, they want to provide that for themselves.
Yeah.
It's all right. Let's get back to the video. Let's see what this guy has to say.
Wait, you wanted to say something?
No, and also that the fact that my parents are straight from Africa, they know how it is to be broke. So when they
True.
knew each other, they didn't have anything. They came here, they didn't have anything.
Right. That's a good point.
Tu vois? So they like the woman, like even that my father, when he bring my mom to France, my dad was nothing. But my mom was like, wow, he bring me to France to like build something together.
Yeah.
And that's why you honor him more. Look, what my dad his club in Africa, but still my mom is still standing with him no matter what, because tu vois ce que je veux dire?
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that there's so many American divorces that it's become naturalized, you know, it's like normalized, excuse me. You know,
Right.
like 50% of American marriages end in divorce. So
More than
it's
that,
easy,
yeah.
more than that. So it's easy to just walk away, you know, whereas, you know, I guess sometimes Christians have that where they, you know, they won't get divorced even if it's really bad, but most Americans, you know, our parents included, are divorced, and you know, I'm not going to judge what they went through, but I think that American women, younger American women, unmarried or whatever, or recently married, they see divorce as such like a feasible option. Like if it's not perfect, if it doesn't, you know, it's so easy to walk away.
I'm pretty sure if you go back in the days with this African American woman, I'm pretty sure back in the day they were not divorced. It's just because the generation, the société, en
That's
fait,
true.
tu vois,
Yeah.
c'est. So that's all.
All right, bye.
All right, thank you for participating.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think so. You know, like they, American women I don't think it's, I don't know. I don't think they really respect the sanctity of a relationship. I think it's just easy come, easy go, you know, and then
Right. And everything culturally is giving them an incentive to end it. It's very, it's very, it's very based on what can you do for me, and when that's not being fulfilled, my happiness, my needs,
right.
And there's a lot of
like the marriage wheel, you know, like the marriage wheel is a perfect example.
Yeah, that we were talking about the other day.
We could even do that after this, because you know, it's like even if the marriage, especially if the marriage evolves, you know, like Coach Greg Adams, he put it well. He's like, you know, you start off at this point, you change, inevitably they get, you know, they get bored or whatever he said. And even throughout all that evolution, I think, and I agree, I don't want to just generalize African and American. I just think in my two experiences, one with the American and one with the African, you know, I hate to generalize, but that's what I'm gonna do. In that, for with the African one, with Aisha, I feel like no matter what we go through, the ups and downs, we will do it together, you know. And I don't feel like, maybe in the beginning it was less, you feel less secure in the strength of the relationship, but now I feel very secure that no matter what we go through, I know what she needs and she knows what I need, and we want to give that to each other, you know, even if it's not necessarily what you want. Like, even if it, you know, people say all these things, oh, you have to, you know, give more to the other woman. I don't know. You need your needs to be met.
Well,
And
it's a compromise. So, you
yeah,
know, you meet in the middle. You know, neither of you are fully fulfilled, but you're also sacrificing something for the other person.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
feel
I
you.
mean, with you know,
Well, I
my
shouldn't
first,
say it like that. Neither of you are fully fulfilled all the time on every. You know, there are things that you give up for the other person, and things the other person gives up for you. So, you know, inherently, you know, it. You know, you're there is a give and take, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
like we were saying, but everything is transactional. But I think you know, I just I find myself um kind of being grateful every now and then, like like she's a good woman, you know. And yeah, it's not African or American, but in the with the first relationship, it was very much from the very beginning. Obviously I was much younger, but from the very beginning it was not, there was no there was no real peace, there was no like
right,
feeling confident in the relationship. And I think a lot of that was due to age and the fact that we just weren't a good match.
right,
um
right.
and the circumstances of moving to China and so on. And but yeah, no, I think the submissiveness is maybe the wrong term, but I think that it is kind of hitting the nail on the head, in the sense that the woman is submitting to let the man feel masculine, you know, like with Aisha's mother, you know, they are definitely, you know, they're, it's not one person that's in charge, but they're not submissive at all, you know, not even in the least bit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I haven't
it's the
experienced that
opposite of
more
that,
either.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
no.
opposite, but it's letting the man feel like a man. I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's magic. I don't know. But it's kind of, I think for me it comes down to respecting the sanctity of a relationship. And I don't know how to put it in words really, but
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart approach,
yeah.
regardless of what your intentions are. If a man feels appreciated
Yeah.
and feels like he has some, you know, measure, you know, level of control over
Yeah.
his
And
life and the people that he's you know, he wants to feel like he's useful, he has a purpose.
yeah.
So in providing, you know, it's like the phrase, you know, you get more with honey than vinegar, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know, so,
there's this thing also with cooking where, like, my ex, she cooked and she was a very good cook, right? But when
yeah,
she did cook, I felt she maybe passed on some kind of responsibility to me, like, oh, I cooked, so now you blah 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 blah, right? Whereas with Aisha and her mom, when they cook, there's, I don't, you never feel any kind of, they just, it's their responsibility to cook, you know. And
well,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, people eat, so they were gonna probably cook anyway. So,
yeah, but it's not even that. It's part
no,
of
no, no. I get
it's
you.
part of like the culture, where it's like, no,
Right,
I'm supposed to cook for you, and there's nothing wrong
right.
with that.
So on the
Whereas,
counterbalance, are
yeah.
there responsibilities that you feel like you are expected to uphold in the relationship?
I
On the
mean, she has these weird things like, oh, women don't take out garbage and don't fix cars or fix things, but she'll help me if I need help. I mean, um, I don't know how steadfast she is on those things. Like if I needed her to, whatever, and
I
I
mean,
don't think
and
there's any role.
you would probably cook something up
Yeah, I
too.
cook a lot too, and she doesn't always cook.
Yeah,
And I do laundry and clean. It's not so much the roles per se. It's more just kind of like the feeling of when I do something nice for you, I don't m- want you to feel like you have to return. Like it feels
yeah,
less
yeah,
transactional.
right. Because you maybe the preoccupation with these tit for tat. I
Yeah,
did this, so you have to do it. Maybe that in and of itself is counterproductive
yeah,
because at the end
and
of the day, we're here with this divine duty
yeah,
to collaborate and pass on genetic material.
yeah.
And
And actually, it's
right?
it's
So men
funny
and
too.
women, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you got it.
No, yeah, I think there was I think it may be this transactional thing, might be an American thing, to be honest. I think we might have taken transactionality to kind of like capitalism. Like we start, and wokeness, like it started okay, but it's gotten out of control. Now it's infiltrated too much of our lifestyle. And I think that raised as an American, I definitely had that thing where, I with my ex, we kind of pooled all of our money, and so anything she had was ours and anything I had was ours. But that made her lazy, like she didn't have to put anything in and benefited from my hard work, and that made me resent her. But
Yeah.
I also, my mother.
Was that a static situation, or was that just based on the season of your lives and what the circumstances
No,
were?
that was, I don't know, that was, I think, how she wanted it, because in the beginning, I my experience was from my mom, who was very 50-50, right, with her second husband. And he told me that that was part of the reason why they broke up, because he felt like down to the penny she would like track every kind of expense, and if it wasn't exactly 50-50, she would make it a thing. And he didn't like that, among other things. But I adopted that kind of agreement first with my ex, and she said, no, 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 let's do it like this, whatever. I said, okay, whatever, fine. I don't,
Right.
let's
Yeah. I mean,
But
there
wait,
are probably
but
pros and
then
cons.
with Aisha, I was still like that, very transactional, like very down to the penny. And she had, after a couple of years, was like, this doesn't feel right. It feels like we're roommates, it feels like, what, we're roommates. Like, why, if you should want to spend money on me, I should want to spend money on you and not have to track each penny. If you buy me an expensive gift, you shouldn't expect an expensive gift, and vice versa. And I think that was an important lesson for me. It's still hard to turn off, I think, because there are some aspects of being an American that are hard to turn off. So like this work ethic is very hard to turn off. French people don't
Is
have
that
this.
unique to Americans, or you think
I think so. I think some of that is.
okay, the work ethic? Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah. All right.
maybe not the money part, but I think the transactionality is what I'm trying to get at. Like,
Yeah.
we agreed before this call, we were like, oh, everything is transactional, not only relationships, but everything. And you said, yeah, that's true. And I think that, as I mentioned, I think it's probably more of an
Everything is transactional, but the value of what the other person is transacting is completely subjective.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't, so to go down to the penny, that's very objective. Like this is just like what it is. But maybe people offer other things that are not, quantifiable, and are not, and then there are periods where maybe one person is offering more than the other person is offering more, and like there's a fluctuation, and there's a tab that's not moment to moment but more spread over a longer period of time. It's like, those years I was struggling and you held it down, and in these years I'm doing better and I'm holding it down for you. And so you know when you're talking about something that's going to last a lifetime, to go into the tit for tat, dollar for dollar, penny for
Yeah.
penny thing, you're very stuck in the moment of, all right, well, today this is what it is, and it's hard to take that perspective when you're trying to build something that's going to last the
Yeah.
long haul.
We both have a similar experience with our exes where we both sacrificed. I think for you it was time, and for me it was money in the early phases for the other person to do something that they wanted or needed. And then later on, it was not appreciated as much as we would have liked,
Or
right?
acknowledged at
Or
all.
acknowledged, yeah, even acknowledged, yeah, exactly. And that it's I don't want, it's not an American thing per se, but I think it's just, the importance of finding a good balance. I think certain people are just not for each other, like when
Right.
you're, a toxic relationship, as we've agreed, is fun, but it's not the one to have kids with. It's like that's not the right one to be linked to for the rest of your life.
Without a
um,
doubt.
so
Yeah. All
anyway,
right. So let's get back to Michael Blackson and see
all
what he
right.
has to say.
Um, I mean, I've had the experience of both worlds. What would I want more? I mean, one man would not want a submissive woman. One man would not want that. You know, um, and I think at the end of the day, I'm good with a woman making her money. Because but at the end of the day, I'm never gonna ask a woman for money. I don't care how much millions you make. I cannot ask. I don't want none of your money. So and if I make $1 million a year and my lady make $100,000 a year, I don't expect her to pay no bills. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I would prefer not I would prefer a woman that's submissive to me. So would I mean I prefer African woman over an American woman? Probably. I mean, that's where I came from. I came from an African woman. I prefer that, but I just got used to the American women. I like the aggressiveness and the spontaneous woman, and as an American woman, and just a lot more fun. I think American women are more fun.
All right. That's a lot right there. Aggressive, spontaneous, and fun. What do you take from that statement?
I think
And
the aggressive.
do you think it even holds true?
I don't think it holds true for American versus African. I think the aggressiveness does, but only in the sense of bringing that aggression into the home. Like you can be as aggressive as you want, in your life. Not to put her business out there, but yeah, no, let me not. A lot of women have to be aggressive at work, and then when they get home, they, you know, want to not be aggressive, right? But I think at least
It's been said. Okay.
my experience, not be aggressive or be, you know, sexually, that's they want to be dominated because they've been dominating at outside. But
Okay.
I think just that's different. The aggression, I think, you know, it's hard to turn off. And I think that in my experience, the you know, the African woman has a she's turns it off better when she gets home. Like, you can be as aggressive as you want, but when you get home, like, that's the thing, is like, of course we have disagreements and fights, and sometimes some of them are stupid, some of them are you know, more valid, but either way, it's like
Well, what about this dynamic?
and you get those disagreements can get aggressive
All right,
in
what
the
about
moment.
this dynamic, right?
Yeah.
You have a woman who works, right? And is she aggressive or is she cooperative and compliant to her boss, right? And then comes home and is aggressive and
Yeah.
uncooperative with her spouse. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
that dynamic I think is definitely prevalent
Yeah.
on this side, right? Where you have women who are combative with their husbands, and kind of holding them to a standard of masculinity that they've conjured up in their heads, but may not have, you know, anything to base that off of. You know, like this is what I've been told a man is supposed to do, like the whole Prince Charming Disney, you know, and you know, and when that man falls short of that, then the rhetoric is like, oh well, I'm stepping into my masculine because you're not doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
The spontaneity and the fun thing, I don't see that as an American versus African thing. I think it's unique to the person. I mean, we only have our experiences to speak of. And so it's hard to judge a whole culture off of those experiences. But you know, there are things that are built into cultures, like, for example, Asian women are expected to be submissive. Like, it's part of their culture. Like, there's no secrets about that. Like, that's their thing. And even Asian women in America, I think people have said that too, where it's like they're more submissive, you know, like.
Yeah, well, that's a funny thing. I mean, I think that Asian women are stereotypically submissive,
Yeah.
but I don't necessarily buy that they're completely submissive. I think in the way that they interact with their men, there might be a kind of default, you know, where the man will take the lead, maybe. But I think that at the end of the day, most women are very competent and let it be known that, you know, that they're in control on some level.
Yeah, no, I just want to remind that for me, the submissiveness is not literally submissiveness. It's making the man feel like
Okay.
they're being submissive.
So does that mean it's
maybe in public? Maybe in public.
Does that mean it's disingenuous on some level? Where
No,
it's like,
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant because
no, but that doesn't mean preclude it from being disingenuous. Is it a
yeah, disingenuous or not, it's something that men need. You
Right.
know, we
So is
need
it on some level a woman patting a man on the head in
yeah,
order
but
for him
if
to
that's what
go?
we need, then fine. It doesn't matter if it's genuine or disingenuous. I think that it's something that makes a relationship work. You know, like I
Right.
mean, men we're kind of like cavemen at the heart. You know, like give us this and give us that, and don't give us this and give us that. That's it. We're not very complicated. We're not emotional creatures like women are. You know, so
Right.
like we don't need a whole lot, but don't step to us in the wrong way, like tell me what I need to hear, whether you mean it or not. I don't really give a fuck, but tell me
Now,
what I need to hear.
where do you think this dynamic stems from that you're speaking? As far as
I think, as I said in the beginning, I think there's something about American independence or American excellence and women having less respect, and having to fight for their respect, to be equally paid and considered, you know, uh, you know, like in Japan, a woman. When I was in China, I was hosted by the seventh biggest company in the world. It was a Japanese company, right? And a woman is not allowed to be a manager. Literally, it's part of their culture,
right,
where no matter how smart you are, no matter what, you are not allowed to be a manager. And this is the seventh biggest company in the world, right?
yeah,
They are across all sectors, own tons of stuff, and that's just part of Japanese culture. I mean, so it's like it's not they don't feel like, just like
but
in China, they're not unhappy. It's just how they live.
right,
They
yeah,
don't have open Facebook and whatever, but they're fine. That's how they live. So in Japan, it's the same thing. A woman is just not allowed to be a manager. Doesn't mean the women are unhappy about it. They don't, whatever. That's part of their culture. They respect the culture. Whereas American culture is different. The women are encouraged to fight to get to the top, and be independent, and like, do you don't wait for any man to give you
right,
anything.
right, right, right.
I think
Well, all
that's
right.
where
So
it stems from.
here's a theory. Let me hear what you think about this. Right.
Yeah.
In some cultures, right, or in traditional cultures, women, they can have equal intelligence, equal, guile, wits, abilities on most fronts as a man. But where the puck stops, um, is where um, is with the physicality of men.
Mhm.
And because there are dire physical consequences to defying a man in an extreme way, in a society where they don't have the protection that they might have here, women have developed different set of skills
Mhm.
and mannerisms and customs to abate that threat,
Mhm.
right? Whereas in the West, or in the United States in particular, women have a counterbalance in the law, the police, um, and maybe feminism as a whole,
Mhm.
where maybe not in the moment, but at the end of the day, that male physicality and physical dominance is less consequential because of the counter threat of severe punishment for abusing that power, right, as a man. So if you exert your will physically over a woman, um, and I'm not saying like on a fit like a domestic abuse level, but just in the you know just as a as a known reality, right? Where it's like, all right, well, who am I going to call? If this man flips out, or if this man takes it there, as unlikely as it might be, there is a subconscious awareness of that reality. Whereas here, that there's a subconscious awareness of like, yo, I wish a nigga would. I'll have this dude, hemmed up, locked up, and paying me for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? So there is like a safety net, or a countermeasure that's
Or an
been,
instigation almost.
well, it prompts instigation,
Yeah.
because you have 911, police, court,
Yeah.
the legal system to step in. And now you have this in France, but
No, you're right. No, you're right. It's not it's different. Like in France, I went through a divorce in France with an American woman, and it's different because if I were going through that same divorce in the States, I would have much less um, rights and more financial responsibility. So I would have to pay for her lawyer. I would be given almost zero benefit of the doubt or credibility. Whereas in France, I'm equal. I'm just as valid as her. That might be due to our circumstances, but I think definitely in America, as the women, they have to be complete losers to not get,
custody.
the custody and all of this. And I think it's similar with domestic abuse. Like, you could say anything, and we both had the same thing where our exes literally got violent with us and then blamed us for that violence, but it was them doing it to themselves.
Right.
you know
Right.
and they literally I don't know if they believe it or not, but they came out of their face and literally blamed us to the authorities.
Yeah. So I don't know what consequence you faced for that circumstance, but here,
Zero, but
that caused me
zero. But the
that
intention was for me
yeah.
to feel
So over here, that can result in a order of protection.
yeah,
Father not being able to see his kids.
yeah,
All kinds of legal ramifications.
right.
So
That's why
So
she was doing it, because she knew she wanted it in her pocket.
Right, but it didn't really pan out like that. You're saying.
Well, right, but that was why she did it for sure, because she knew that in America that would work.
Right. So she had that kind of programming and that expectation based on
exactly.
Yeah, interesting. All right, I'm getting back into it. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then but Africa men are opening up. I think the Western world, which is America and Europe, Western world is rubbing up on African women as well, and they are just almost turning to be like the Western women almost. So if I was to go in and get an African woman, it would have to be like some village girl, because the ones in the cities are like they watch it, they turn into Americans too much, or they think they are. So I'll go to the village and find whatever you like, come to America type woman.
Yeah, that's
Bark like a
another
dog,
point.
woof woof, a big dog.
Wow. So African woman is more submissive.
Yeah, I think that most of them are more submissive, and it's their tradition. They're raised from birth to like kind of, it's almost like coming to America where they're raised from birth to like be submissive to their men and take care of their men. In fact, in Liberia, where I spent most of my African life, there comes a time when a girl reaches a certain age, even a guy reaches a certain age, and they are sent away for like 6 months to a year to some remote area where they are trained. A man is trained to be a man. You train him how to like cut a tree down, climb a tree, do all them things. And go on the farm and do things. And women are trained to teach them, they're taught how to take care of a man. You know, but those are more like village type things. Nothing like happens in the city. So
So that kind of
Yeah.
echoes what Aisha was talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, to a extreme, I guess,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I
I've noticed the same thing in Dominican Republic per se, and I think that even if you go back 20, 40 years in the U.S., like this type of stuff was more, young boys would be working on cars with their father, women would be preparing Thanksgiving dinner,
right.
and now there's none of it. It's just completely
Yeah.
mixed up.
Feminism. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Feminism
mean,
is,
I think that's a huge contributor.
yeah, it's a bit out of control. It's kind of skewed. It's like woke. It's like it's okay, in its concept, but when you
Good
operate,
intentions with bad outcomes.
yeah, yeah. But I also think he had a good point about the city aspect. Obviously, you and I are both raised in New York City, but I'm in Paris now, but I could see how smaller towns would be it would be a different mentality, like
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't have any experience with that, but I can imagine how that would be. Whereas in a city, it's always, there's tons of people. You have to kind of be a bit more hard or street smart, less trusting, aggressive.
more options.
Yeah, more
Overall,
options.
I think
Yeah,
optionality comes into it too because you know with right, there are 8 billion people on the planet, right?
mhm.
And if in theory every man has 4 billion options and every woman has 4 billion options, which is obviously ridiculous, but
Mhm.
but even if you narrow it down to your age bracket, let's say you have 1 billion options, right? Um, and then you narrow it down geographically. You know, you're talking about a huge pool of people, right, in a city where you are crossing paths with all these different people from all these different walks of life, versus in a village where everybody,
Yeah,
everyone's family. So there's more of a community influence on your decision making, how you act in public, how you conduct yourself socially. Um, so your what
yeah,
you do in your relationship reflects not only you but your family because everyone
yeah.
knows you through
Right.
your family.
Whereas in a city, it's easy to get lost. You can make a
Yeah,
mistake,
yeah.
and no
There's
one will
more
ever.
autonomy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And actually, about the option thing, as I've explained to you, when I was dating in France, it was mostly African and Caribbean women. There was one black Canadian, but either way, I don't know if it's France or whatever, but my point is about America. As you know, in America, dating means multiple people. Whereas
right.
here in France, it doesn't mean that. It means you date one person, and from
Okay,
from from the very first date, you are
right.
literally rehearsing a relationship. That's what it
Can I
is.
ask you something?
Yeah.
Why was it strictly African and Caribbean women? Is that just personal preference, or is
Yeah,
that
not really. I think, I mean, when I would swipe on who I thought was cute, and there was definitely white women, there was Asian women, but I think, for whatever reason, they liked me, so I gave them a chance because they were giving me a chance. I don't necessarily choose only a certain type of woman, but that just is how it was for me. Like, these are the ones that we made a connection. There was white women, but it never really went beyond a couple dates for whatever reason. I don't think any of it has to do with race. I think it's just really,
Or
you
it could
know,
be more culture.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It could
Personally,
be.
I
It
don't
could
have a
be
preference.
playing to. Right. It could be playing to. You know. Playing to your strengths, or it's like, going where you're appreciated. You know what I mean? That kind
Yeah,
of dynamic.
I have no idea.
Yeah, because I feel like that also echoes a conversation we recently had before we started filming, right? Right. It's like you're definitely you go where you're appreciated, go where you have a not
A
to
leg up.
a leg up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, let's let's let it wrap it up.
If we grew up in like in a tribal, those are tribal things in Liberia that they do in Liberia. So from a young age, women are trained to like take care of their man. You know?
And I know Akon, he made some comments a while back saying that African women don't cheat like American women.
What do you mean? African women?
Yeah, do they cheat?
Ooh, yes. That's a damn lie. African women will cheat. African women will leave you for a richer man. At least the city ones, at least the ones in the big cities. Not the village girl, whatever, but like at the end of the day, man, a bigger guy with more money could easily get you.
Was he about to say something else? Yeah. You catch that?
Yeah.
A president could get your girl if you wanted her. Yeah. So all that women, African women don't cheat there. That's a damn lie. I'm sure I would give 50% of them would probably cheat with a successful man. Because women, they're at least more. If your man got nothing and a rich man will take your woman in Africa.
Damn.
But
yeah, it's a shame.
I think that it's what he's talking about is money, but in America they're cheating. They're not cheating to step up their, to level up, right? They're cheating because they're not getting what they need at home. They're not getting the right Charles Dickens.
I think there are multiple reasons, but I think money is definitely one of them. I think the novelty of experience is another. So if a woman is bored, I think she'll cheat.
Yeah.
Right. I think there are emotional needs also. So if a woman feels emotionally neglected, I think she might cheat. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to all of them, but I know that for a man, it mostly boils down to opportunity. If a man is offered a good enough opportunity with as little consequence as possible or no consequence, he's probably going to cheat. Which is probably why it stings a different way for a woman to cheat on a man than a man to cheat on a woman, regardless of what most women say. You know, and probably why, if you are financially well off and have a lot to offer a woman as far as resources, lifestyle, and novelty, and whatever else you want to layer on top of that, a woman would probably be more willing to, share a Ferrari. This is not my line, but share a Ferrari than own a Kia,
Yeah. But I think I think they can have both. Like there's a lot of stories where you hear a woman who married a gay man, and either was in denial or just knew it and was like, oh, and I'll have a home to go
Yeah,
to.
but she was probably able to use that guy as an emotional tampon.
Right.
Probably felt like they were best friends. I mean, that's me stereotyping. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
he was holding calories. Who knows?
No, but
But
that was my point about dating, is that if you can get different things from different men, why would you settle for one? You know, like
and the same could apply for men. If you can get different things from different women, why would you settle for one? You know?
Yeah, but I think it's, unless you're in
It applies
a
more so
Muslim.
for men because men have the ability to father more children in their lifetime than
Yeah,
women
but
do.
unless you're
So women need the investment of a man in order to successfully raise a man or somebody. They need the investment of a man, whether it be a spouse or a father or daddy government, which is what we are facing in the West now. Whereas women feel emboldened to, alienate a man from their life or not follow the authority of a man because they would rather follow the authority of, the legal system,
Mhm.
who at the end is offering them the same thing that a man would offer them, just in a different form. You know what I mean? It's like, so I mean, not to get too personal, but what I notice, like, as you know, I travel to DR once in a while, or I have traveled to the DR a few times in recent history. And what I realized real quick is that women are way more eager to partner up with a man who is willing to elevate their lifestyle, because their options otherwise are limited, you know?
Mhm.
And what he's talking about, going to the village versus the city. In the city is constructed as an economic hub where there's opportunity for employment and income, right? That's why people move from the country to the city, from the beautiful countryside to the congested, overcrowded, dirty city, because the city offers that economic opportunity, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
With that economic opportunity comes, a certain level of independence and freedom, right? So, that's almost a, in the current moment, you can compare the country to the city in the way that you can compare tradition to modern, like it just, you have more options, more access to resources, more, fallbacks in a modern environment than you do as a woman, than you would in a traditional environment. So with those outlets, you have more optionality and less need to hitch up with a man, especially if that man is hyper masculine and demanding that you get on his program and follow his rules and follow his lead, you know? So a man that's more wishy-washy and more, open to compromise and, the push and pull of a relationship is probably more attractive to a modern woman for a long-term relationship because she retains her independence on some level, even though she's in, she can count on him to supplement that with what he brings to the table,
Yeah.